Recent research shows that about 25% of kids under the age of 18 admit to sexting.
The research also suggests that many parents are not discussing it with their kids. So in today's Relationship Reboot, we're getting advice on what parents should be thinking about when it comes to teens and sexting. Joining us now is our relationship guru, Dr. Carol Breeze. Carol, you have, well, kids who are at the end of the teenage years.
18 and 21.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about sexting first so parents know what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
This could be text, sexually explicit text, but it could be photos too. Right?
It could be. It can be photos, it can be videos, and it can be in any of the digital spaces, Snapchat, Instagram, texting. So parents really should be aware of what kind of platforms their kids, I mean, as young as 8, 9, and 10 are using.
Carol, you can certainly understand why parents aren't talking to their kids about it. It's an uncomfortable subject. How do you start that conversation?
Well, and you know, one of the things we know is that kids on average around age 10 have their own cell phones, so we need to be thinking about this way earlier and than a lot of parents think. So even for the young kids, one of the things that we should be talking about in the context of other absolute rules that we have: never get into a car with strangers, never send photos of people without clothes on. So, I mean, even really early, just some of those basic conversations.
Sure.
Right. And I have 2 teenagers, and I will say that I know kids who have been involved in this, and the consequences are very real. They don't understand that sending something to one person can result in it being disseminated to many, many people. There are also even criminal ramifications in some cases. And kids don't understand it. They also think, well, if it's on Snapchat, it'll disappear.
It disappears.
Right.
No.
Right.
So this is a really big deal. It's very, very prevalent, I think.
It is.
25% is way low, don't you think? Like, the research is way low.
Right. So, I mean, how many kids want to admit, even in a survey, that they're doing it? So we have to assume that there's probably more. But some of the good news is that we do have research on what some of the most effective messages from parents are that kids actually will listen to.
All right. What kind of things?
So, for instance, one of the things that teens say really impacts them is when their parents talk about the fact that when you send a photo, you no longer control it.
Right.
So the teens themselves are saying that message really resonates with them. So it's kind of moving away from the shaming about what is really natural, normal teen sexual development, curiosity about bodies and nudity. So that kind of messaging is really important.
I want to underscore that because I think for parents, I did a story on sexting a while ago, and there's a real disconnect between how parents react to it and what a younger generation does as far as sexting. Parents, people our age, feel like, this is gross, like, why would you do it? But for young people, this has become part of the courtship ritual. It's kind of normal.
Right. You're absolutely right. I mean, and even also, you know, it's not just nude pictures, but also I would put in this category, you know, a girl wearing a bra. I mean,
absolutely.
This is, you know, kids really don't understand that they do lose control once they send that picture.
Exactly. And, you know, some of the other proven techniques by the research are things like talking to your kids about what-if scenarios. So what if someone pressures you to send that photo in your bra? What do you do?
Because that will happen.
Right.
It happens.
And this sexting phenomenon is also about receiving the sex. So what if you receive a sext? What do you do? And kids are really interested in talking, or they're more open to talking when you present those what ifs.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of free resources online, including one written by teens.
Well, so there's a resource out there that I've identified, a call from Common Sense Media, and we'll put the link up there for you. But it's written for teens, to teens, and it's really accessible, and teens seem to really resonate with it. Addresses stuff like, what do you do? What have other teens done if they've received a sex? Or feel like, oh my goodness, this photo has gone viral, what do I do now?
Start talking at age 10?
Well, start talking about it even earlier.
Wow, if you have a cell phone.
Even before that, you should just be talking about the reality of it, so your kids will want to talk to you later.
My kid's 3. Can I wait a little bit?
Maybe a year.
All right.
Maybe a year, but not much longer, Matt.
Oh, Carol, thank you.